Oh! Oh, I didn't hear you come in. Since you're here now, you may as well watch episode 3. Running alongside my garden is a stretch of river known locally as the Brook. The water is raucous and fast-flowing in some parts, but deep and brooding in others. The river benefits from a sewage treatment plant and a popular local fly tipping spot, just a little way upstream. Despite this, the water shows signs of being reasonably clean. It supports invertebrate and fish life, which in turn feeds key indicator species like dippers and kingfishers. Just below the house is this attractive concrete weir, the last visible remains of a coal mine which operated on the site before the house was built. The white noise of the rushing water provides a constant soundtrack to any time spent in the garden. Since the start of lockdown, I've tried to get out every day to look for animals or plants that I can potentially photograph. The weather has turned a bit today. It's windy and the light is inconsistent, and that's not ideal for doing flower photography. So I'm going to have a look down in the river and see what's what in there. We're just a few meters from the house here, and below me is a steep bank. It's quite muddy and the water down there is a bit deep, so I'm going to be travelling light. I've got my faithful friend here, and these are my special water trousers, which are in no way uncomfortable or chafing. I don't get down here very often. The access can be a bit tricky and the riverbed is unstable, making it difficult to move around. But it can be worth the effort, as there's always a chance of picking up some tracks or signs. Well, I've stopped here next to this slightly unprepossessing lump of concrete that I think has washed down from the weir at some point in the past. It's got something interesting on it though. There's a dropping just here, and if we take a closer look at it, we can see that it's got some fish bones in there. See these small fibres, and then there's a vertebra with some spine sticking out of it, and then some crayfish shells possibly. So this has been left by something that eats fish, probably an otter. Although it seems quite promising, it's actually really old and desiccated, so I think this thing is probably pre-coronavirus. Undeterred by the apparent age of that dung, I continue to struggle manfully upstream towards the weir. I find something below the sluice gate that inspires me to set up some state-of-the-art equipment. I've come down to this slightly unpleasant spot underneath the weir. It's very dark and dingy, and if I'm honest, it kind of smells a bit. But the reason I'm here is because I've spotted a pipe in the wall, which seems to me like the kind of place that a small mammal might be attracted to. But I don't want to sit here all day and all night waiting for it, so I'm going to put this out. It's a trail camera, and the way these things work is you leave them out, and then any warm-blooded animal that comes by and triggers it can be filmed or photographed. So I'm all set up here. All I've got to do now is turn the thing on, put it in its little holder, and now I can go away and do something nicer. I'd quite like to get out of these trousers. With the trail camera doing my work for me and the weather beginning to brighten, I can do something I haven't done for over 6 months. I'm an extremely lazy gardener, and this spring my indolence has been rewarded with a lawn filled with lovely wildflowers. But now their time is over. This all feels rather brutal, but I'm not a monster. The great majority of the space is left entirely undisturbed, so there is plenty of room for nature to flourish. I find this philosophy to be very consistent with my attitude to working in the garden. It was nice to get those waders off, but now it's time to check the trail camera. First up, a grey squirrel, an introduced species responsible for the decline of our native red squirrel. I could have seen that from the kitchen window. Night time now, and there's a brown rat, and a big one. If you look carefully, you'll see a large lump under its tail. What that is its balls, which would suggest that it's a male. Two smaller rats now, perhaps a female and her juvenile offspring. At any rate, they appear to be on good terms. The female again, and now the male is back. They seem to be on somewhat less good terms. The following morning, a glimpse of something unexpected, but not entirely welcome. It looks cute, but it's yet another imported disaster. The American mink. It's widespread in the UK now, and is implicated in the loss of our water voles. Those are 3 invasive exotics, but that's not bad for a couple of days, so I'm going to persevere with the camera trap. Follow me on the social media for updates. Oh, goodbye.